15 years into our marriage, at a chandeliered anniversary party with 80 guests, Rose raised her glass and said, "A toast to the loser who signs the checks but will never be my real lover." Nervous laughter fluttered. Her friends actually snickered. I didn't argue. I set a small brass key on the linen next to the untouched creme brulee. The tag read 23C. Her father, Richard, saw it, read the note I'd clipped, "Vault 23C, First National, check before Monday," and went ash white. "Rose," he whispered, "tell me you didn't." I pushed my chair back, nodded to the staff, and walked out. No scene, no speech. Down the hill, past the chocolate fountain she insisted on renting, past the ice swans to my truck, the license plate ending in the same 3 characters, 23C, a private joke. I drove into the dark feeling lighter than I had in years. I took a room at a cheap lakeside motel where the heater rattled and the view was half-frozen reeds. On the bed, I opened a black briefcase and set out 3 folders. Plan A, divorce. Plan B, eviction if needed. Plan C, nuclear. Then I called Ms. Harriet Healy, the 73-year-old estate lawyer who had helped me assemble all this for 14 months. "It happened," I said. "Activate 23C. She didn't ask for a monologue. "Filing Monday," she said. 45 days to full execution if they fight. Your documents are tight." 2 years earlier, I'd asked Rose to sign routine estate updates. She scrolled Pinterest, faux hydrangeas in rustic metal buckets, while I flagged signature tabs. Buried on page 47 of 63 was Clause 19B. If either spouse publicly humiliates or deliberately disrespects the other in a social setting with 10 or more witnesses, they immediately forfeit inheritance rights, asset claims, and spousal benefits under sections 12 through 18. Not about infidelity or crime, about public disrespect. For 2 years, I quietly logged her jokes at dinners, birthdays, and book club, 17 incidents, dates, and witnesses. She signed every page without reading. A notary watched. Ms. Healy filed. I hoped we'd never use it. I knew better. Back at the party, Richard left in a hurry. Saturday night, the bank was closed to normal people. He was not normal people. 40 minutes later, a bleary manager opened the vault. Safety deposit box 23C held 2 documents. The first was a notarized buyout. My 49% of Patterson Commercial Real Estate, his and mine, was transferred 2 months earlier to the Delaney Foundation for $1, effective the moment Clause 19B triggered. The second document was my will. Upon death or legal separation, all remaining assets to the Foundation's beneficiary, a 24-year-old Marine veteran named Marcus Delaney. Richard steadied himself on cold steel. He'd always underestimated the quiet son-in-law. A week before the party, I'd met Marcus in a beige interstate hotel conference room. Dress blues, perfect posture, words measured. I told him why. His father had dragged me off a live circuit in 2005 and saved my life. I'd never paid that debt. "This isn't charity," I said. "It's stewardship. If the worst happens, or if my wife forces my hand, I want the work I've done to help someone who won't turn it into throw pillows and fountains." He didn't smile much, but he nodded. "I'll use it well," he said. That was enough. 72 hours after the toast, Rose stormed into Greg Morrison's office, a family lawyer with the patience of a stone. "Stop him," she demanded. "He can't take everything." Greg slid a file across the desk. The same 63 pages she'd signed. "You executed these with a notary," he said evenly. "Clause 19B is enforceable. Your husband documented a pattern. You triggered it in front of 80 witnesses." She tried to call it a joke. "Courts know the difference between teasing and systematic public degradation," he said. She reached for other branches. "The house? I'd bought it before our marriage and kept title solely in my name. The business? My 49% already belonged to a charitable foundation. Her settlement? $50,000, her car, her personal effects? Not nothing, not what she'd imagined." She said she hadn't read the documents. Greg exhaled. "That's not a legal defense. It's a life lesson." Later, Richard drove up to my cabin. We sat by the fire with good rye and more silence than words. "They blame me," he said finally. "Eleanor and Rose. They say I should have stopped you." "You never tried to control me," I said. You just never thought I'd act. He stared at the flames. She really said it like that? Word for word. He left older but clear-eyed. Ms. Healy filed and served. Titles shifted. Accounts moved. The foundation recorded its interest. Marcus got the trustee's call. My phone filled with Rose's messages. We need to talk. It was a joke. You're cruel. I'm sorry. I answered none. Silence is underrated. People think divorce explodes. Mine unwound. That was the point of planning. Momentum without spectacle. Facts, not speeches. Transfers timed before any spark. 3 sealed contingencies. Dignity, most of all. When someone uses a microphone to call you a loser, the rebuttal isn't a louder microphone. It's a better file. Rose tried one last public post about unforgiving men and controlling partners. It faded when mutual friends asked about witnesses and a certain champagne toast. Greg told her something no clause can teach. The quiet one isn't weak. Sometimes he's documenting. She collected her check and moved in with her parents for a while. I hope she learns to read before signing and speaking. Richard stabilized the company. If he wants my stake back, he can bargain with the foundation like anyone else. No malice, just terms. Marcus sent me a short note, marine brevity, using the windfall to build a security firm that hires vets. Your father figure would approve, he wrote. I believe him. One evening I parked outside the house I used to call home and watched the lights move behind the fogged glass. No hate, no speeches, just the last minute of a long chapter. Then I drove off in the truck Rose always hated, the brass key in a drawer and the license plate changed, not as trophies, reminders. You don't raise your voice. You raise your standards. And when someone makes a public show of demeaning you, you let the paperwork speak. They wanted a toast. Here's mine, unspoken and sufficient, to the loser who signs the checks. Never again for you. I drove toward a life that finally felt quiet enough to hear myself think. Thanks for watching PLZ. Subscribe and like.